First one up is going to be Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 2, Episode number 11, titled The Greater Good. Now, this is actually the second part of our Captain Chaku sort of crossover event that we're having here. This galactic police from outer space coming to go ahead and try and find Jack, if I'm not mistaken, his name is. So we saw all that in episode number 1 last week. This week, I gotta say, I really enjoyed this episode, probably even more than I did last week's episode. The fact that they truly gave Captain Chaku such a heartfelt storyline in here, I thought was a really smart decision. Probably some of the best writing that I feel like I've seen for maybe this second season, if you will, as far as like when it comes to character wise, right? Like some of the action worked out pretty well in here, I thought, for the most part, but I thought that the writing was handled pretty well. I thought that they focused on the characters pretty good also, really pulling at our heartstrings, to be honest with you. And I wasn't really expecting such a heartfelt episode when it comes to somebody like a Captain Chaku in here. So kudos to the writing team for being able to pull that off, because I've been impressed. You know, one of the things that I have talked about before is that when I watched the Super Sentai counterpart and Go Busters, the 2-episode arc of their Space Sheriff Gavin, which is adapted into this Captain Chaku, really wasn't that impressive to me. I remember watching it at least twice, and I just wasn't that impressed with it. So going into Beast Morphers, that was one of my gigantic question marks. Like, is that even a storyline that Beast Morphers is even going to tackle? You know, how are they going to utilize it, if they certainly did? And kudos to them for doing a fantastic 2-parter, to be quite honest with you. I love the fact here that we get to see the commander, after all the great work that Captain Chaku has done, inviting him to become part of Grid Battle Force. I was not expecting sort of a I don't want to say a hand me out, but an invitation to kind of to join the Rangers, if you will, making his decision that after Jack is in fact stopped, that he's going to stick around. He's going to hang around Grid Battle Force and be part of the team here. And so while they are doing their best to kind of move him in, I do love the realization here for Nate as he kind of stumbles into Captain Chaku's new quarters, that Captain Chaku has a life outside of being part of the Galactic Police. You know, one of the questions that I had even going into this episode that I pondered last week was, you know, I'm curious if there's a face underneath that mask. Like, is he complete cyborg? Is he complete robot, right? Or is there an actual human being or an actual person underneath that? So for Nate to kind of discover that Captain Chaku has a daughter, and while he clearly wants to go back and go home, there is something that's kind of holding him back from doing so. You can clearly see that he misses his daughter greatly, but there's something that's certainly missing for Captain Chaku to return home. And I love the fact that Nate isn't afraid to ask those tough questions and really get to the bottom of it, because what he comes to find out is that, yeah, Chaku wants to come home, wants to see his daughter, but is clearly afraid of what his daughter might think or react to some of the changes that have certainly happened to him. And I love the reveal of showing that Captain Chaku is kind of half cyborg, if you will, or at least I should say like enhanced by cyborg enhancements, if you will. I believe he says that when he joined, in order to really be a successful police of the galaxy, they need to kind of give him some upgrades so he can really deal with some of the enemies that are definitely out there. And so it is one of those things where I feel like Captain Chaku had great intentions of joining the Galactic Police, but once he winds up joining, I don't necessarily know if he knew that cybernetic parts was maybe part of the deal, right? And so now that he has those enhancements, he's a little bit terrified to kind of go back to his daughter, and I can certainly understand that. But I also love the way that they kind of tied in Captain Chaku's story to Nate's, right? I mean, I feel like Nate has become such a strong character. Like, if there are any characters in this show in general that have really stood out to me, it's Ravi and it's Nate. At least like just the focus of where a lot of the writers' attention certainly is in building up these characters. After that probably would be somebody like either a Devin or a Roxy, to be honest with you. But I love what they've been able to do with Nate's character from really early on in season one, establishing the fact that his parents were never really around, right? He never had sort of that family environment. He never had that brother. That's why we have somebody like Steele. So to kind of connect the lack of parenting that Nate had and having Nate understand that, yeah, your daughter does want to see you regardless of what you look like. And they kind of see that from Captain Chaku's point of view, which is very much, I guess you can say, like Nate's family, working hard, right? Doing whatever it takes. As Chaku says, everything's for the greater good, right? You have to sacrifice the things that you love in order to protect everybody. And I think that's definitely what his greater good certainly is, the fact that he can't see his daughter anymore. But if it's going to save the galaxy, if it means protecting millions of other people, he's going to go ahead and do that. So I love just the point of views that we wind up getting from Chaku and Nate here to shine some light further on their relationships, on their parentage, if you will. And for me, I know that we're supposed to eventually, I think, get Nate's parents or other family members from Nate later on in this season. So I think this is a great sort of a door opening, if you will, to eventually, hopefully, get us to seeing Nate's family, because I really would like to kind of get to the bottom of it and see some kind of closure for Nate in his family, considering just how it was brought up in here. So again, I thought the writing was just really, really well handled in here. I mean, with the exception of the plant from Little Shop of Horror being in this movie, trying to eat people and stuff. I mean, outside of that, I thought everything was really, really well handled in here, from the action to seeing Rhinejack kind of fall, seeing how Evox really kind of took advantage of him. And Evox is personally even still struggling with getting a Mayor Daniels sort of human DNA out of him, if you will, right? Like he's still dealing with the ramifications of not having Mayor Daniels a part of him anymore. Clearly having to use as much Morphex as he can to certainly stay alive, because his body is still trying to fight off the remnants of the human DNA, which clearly made him weaker at the end of the day. So great stuff here. Great stuff. I mean, I will say this, a quick honorable mention. There were some interesting Steel moments here. I feel like the idea of Steel becoming human is still being thrown around a little bit. I don't know if that's something that they're truly teasing towards, but I feel like Steel continues to latch on to things that make you feel human or make you become sort of more human. Like the fact that Nate has been working even more on the same technology that transformed him into beast morphers, to utilize that to give Chaku that ability to remove his enhancements, allow him to become sort of human once again. I think one is a brilliant move. Two, I didn't even know that Nate's device, if you will, his technology he created can even do something like that. I just thought overall the story that they handled for Chaku, I thought was brilliant. Seeing Nate giving him sort of a way out, right? Now that Rhinejack was destroyed, I know you want to become a part of Grid Battle Forces, certainly help us out. But if we gave you that opportunity to be human again, would you certainly take it? And I love the fact that he certainly takes it, thanks Nate, and winds up leaving to go ahead and finally see his daughter. So I feel like some big things wind up happening in this episode that certainly could lead to things further down the line, whether it be Nate's family, whether it be the fate of Steel, like what's going to happen with Steel. Is he going to become fully fledged human? I don't really know, right? But who's to say that Nate can't use that same technology to finally transform Steel into a fully human person? You know what I mean? I think I do think that device and what he's been able to do with it is quite telling, and it'll be interesting to see if it winds up popping up for the remainder of the season in some capacity or another, to be honest with you. But I thought that was handled pretty well. I didn't mind the Ben and Betty stuff here this week. They certainly did make me laugh. I don't know why you would certainly keep the plant around, but hey, if they want to keep the plant around, that's certainly more than fine. The first thing that came to my mind though was certainly Little Shop of Horrors. To be honest with you. But other than that, I thought it was handled. Great storytelling, great pacing. I think this one was also directed by Simon Bennett as well. Great heartstring pulling. So yeah, I was thoroughly thoroughly pleased. Quick honorable mention also has to go out to Scrozzle. He wind up picking up the reanimation device that I think Ryjack wind up dropping. You know that's about to come into play. Like, I just know that's about to come into play. Probably in next episode, for all I know. I don't know what the next episode holds in episode 12. I haven't watched any previews. I'm still very much sticking to no spoilers, please, in regards to Beast Morphers, as I am watching these for the first time, the same exact week that they are in fact released. Maybe a couple days ahead of time, so I can kind of get the thumbnails and stuff ready for our weekly episodes, if you will. So I am watching them like a day or two just before they air on Saturdays. So yeah, I still have no idea what to expect, but I'm loving the buildup here, man. I'm truly loving the buildup. I think I feel like this show is truly hitting its stride, very similar to what it did in season 1. It's got a really great pacing and a really great momentum that's certainly following it, and I'm loving just all the original footage that we're certainly getting. I mean, even again in here, very, very little usage of Super Sentai stuff besides the Zords and maybe a couple of the battle sequences when they were not in the quarry, but when they were underground, where we saw Ryjack trying to drill underneath Grid Battle Force. Brilliant plan. Brilliant plan. Reminds me of something like Bugs Bunny would do. Like, just happens to pop up his head inside the PR vault, like, hey guys, I made it. We made it, type of thing. So I love the brilliant plan, but I also love the fact that we had our B spots who been really utilized hardly at all season long, being the ones to kind of pick up on that noise, like, hey, you hear that? I don't know why he's got a New York accent, huh? He's like, you guys hear that? He's like, oh, yeah, I hear it. Somebody's drilling underground. But overall, guys, I was really, really pleased. But listen, I want to know your thoughts. Listen, if there's anything in particular that I might have missed from this particular episode where it was for another character you wanted to focus on and talk a little bit more about, a plot line or storyline I certainly might have missed, definitely go ahead and let me know in the comment section box below. Because remember, guys, as always, these are just my A+ opinions. But at the end of the day, I definitely want to go ahead and know yours. So please go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below. Yeah, and overall, guys, again, compared to the Super Sentai counterpart, really impressed with just this 2-episode arc that we've certainly been getting. And I'm liking the idea here that pieces are kind of being put into place, right? You can kind of see the chess pieces being moved over the board a little bit. These episodes, while they are kind of singularly contained, they for some reason you can start feeling that they're dropping like crumbs here leading into the upcoming episode or the following episodes, whatever the case may be. And sometimes that's not necessarily always the case with Power Rangers. Sometimes it is just a self-contained episode and that's all it is, and you're moving on. But I'm really liking the level of storytelling that we have, at least for the second half of season 2. But guys, definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below.